I'm assuming that you've clicked on this video because you're probably trying to get into tech and you don't want to code, or maybe you're just trying to understand some of the non coding roles within the tech industry. Hi guys, my name is Jade Sola and you're welcome back to my channel. And today we're talking tech. So, what is the fuss around tech industry? Why does everyone want to get into tech industry? And I would say number one reason is because it pays really well. The tech industry is one of the highest paying industries out there. I would also say that number two is the fact that technology will remain relevant. In our lives, we've seen the application in every industry as we know it. And then number three is it's actually a fantastic career to have. So what's not to love? So for the roles I'm going to be talking about today, I'm going to be using an example of maybe a tech product, right? So that we can all relate with how some of these roles really fit into tech. So we're going to assume that a company wants to build a banking software, right? To manage their clients. So imagine like if you have an account with a bank, they actually have like a banking software where they would manage your account and then also manage like how much they're making, so some of the accounting stuff and all whatnot. So we're going to use that as an example of the product. And the number one role that we're going to be talking about today is the technical recruiter. So this is like, the HR person really that is trying to recruit the talent, the technical talent that are going to build this application. And you don't need to know how to code really. If you understand like basic HR stuff, you already can get into this role. Now, the interesting thing about this role is that hardly will you find even a technical recruiter not working with the hiring manager. So the hiring manager is the person you're going to be working with, or maybe the team that you're going to be working with. So they work with the people within the role who are going to, state out what they require from the candidate. Now, what a technical recruiter is going to do is not going to assess your technical ability. What they're going to do is try to check how you fit into the role that they're trying to recruit for. So it's usually like the first stage. They're talking to you, they want to understand your past experiences, your achievements, and how well they think you can potentially fit into the role. So you don't need to know how to code to actually be a technical recruiter, right? So for this software, banking software that we're trying to build, the technical recruiter is going to be looking to hire everyone on the team, including the developers, and they don't need to know how, to code. So the next role I'm going to be talking about now is the business analyst role. And this is another very interesting role within the tech industry. So for this banking software that we want to build, we're going to need someone or some people who are mainly like domain experts. Because of how the finance industry is, it's heavily regulated. So you need people that understand, how things are meant to be done within the financial space. So that's one of the major roles of like a business analyst. They're usually subject matter experts. Now, it's not every time that they have to be subject matter experts. Notice that I've said the finance, not the tech, the technology, so to speak. But their other role is to understand the problems that the company that is trying to build this banking software is trying to solve. So when they understand what they're trying to solve, they can then now do what they call requirements gathering. So one of the major roles of a business analyst is to work with, the business people within a company to really just understand what they're trying to do and then document the requirements. So it could also be that they want to standardize a process even within building the software. And these are some of the things that a business analyst is going to do. So they're sort of like the nexus between the business side and then also the technical side. So they're able to produce documents that can translate the business requirements into technical documents that maybe a developer can read. And the roles really vary from company to company. So the next role I'm going to be talking about is the role of the product manager. Now, this is a very popular role right now, and it is just booming. And it's a very interesting role because it's really like in the intersection between customers, the business, and the tech team. So a product manager wants to understand the pain points of the customer. So in this situation where we're talking about the banking software, so the financial institutions that are going to be using this banking software when it's built, a product manager wants to understand their pain points and some of the things that they're trying to achieve with the banking software. They would also want to understand even the requirements from the business, that's the company that is trying to build this banking software. And then part of their role is to make sure that they're able to communicate or articulate basically this requirement to the developers. So they work closely with developers and they don't necessarily have to know how to code. Yes, they are technical product managers, but there's so many organizations that look for non-technical product managers, so you don't necessarily need to know how to code. And part of your work as a product manager, again, is you're working with the design team, right? So you're looking at the design, you're making sure that the user experience from the design that has been created by the design team is going to be useful for the potential customers. Some of them, depending on how large the organization is anyways, you may also be saddled with go-to-market strategy. So you're building the product, you're responsible for building the features of the product, and then you're also planning to take the product to market when it is ready. The other thing that a product manager also does is to make sure that they're constantly looking at the product that they're building and they're iterating. So even when the product is in the market, you're basically tracking how the product is doing. Is there any part of the system that is not working well? Is there any part of the system that maybe people are complaining about, or you think you can better optimize to work better? And then they go back, they brainstorm ideas on how to make it better. And really, like, it is a very interesting role to be in. So depending on the organization you're in, if you're in a large organization, you may just be overseeing like a tiny part of the system. So with the example that I've been using, you could be a product manager just for the agent side, like the customer service side of this banking software. So how accounts are created, is maybe what you'll focus on, and everything that a customer service agent needs to use to be able to manage a customer coming into the company. And then you could be a product manager, maybe sort of like in the back end of, things like how the interest is calculated, or how statements is produced for customers on a monthly basis, or how the accounting is done. It may be that side of the product that you're working on. And in large organizations, like I said, you may not see the end-to-end, but if you're in a small organization, you can actually see the end-to-end of the entire platform. The next role that I'm going to be talking about is the UI and UX designer role. So sometimes in organizations, these roles are separate. So you have the user designer and then you have the UX designer. So if you've seen any app before, and in the case of this banking software, the UI designer is going to be responsible for designing like the interface that, say, a customer service agent is going to interact with, where the buttons are. They are going to take into account the colors of the brand and how it should be presented. The look and feel of the platform is what the UI designer is going to be focusing on. Now, the UX designer is focused more on the usability of the platform. So sometimes, they get involved in, just understanding the persona, who are the people that are going to be using this, what are their pain points. So if you put a button in one side, is it easily visible? Can an agent really quickly see this thing and know that, okay, I'm meant to press this button, and then what should appear next? Even though the UI person has done like the beautiful, pretty design, the UX designer still has to make sure that the experience and the journey of the person that is going to use it is taken into account with the design. So sometimes within an organization, it could be one person that is doing this, but in larger organizations in tech, you'd have different people or even teams that are going to be focusing on the UI and the UX design of the platform. Now, the last non-coding role that I'm going to be talking about is the technical sales role. So this banking software, when it's finally built, right, somebody needs to go and sell this platform to financial institutions, and that is the role of a salesperson within the tech industry. So they do make presentations. They are the ones that demo to potential clients about how the product works. Basically just highlighting the features and all, and make sure that they close the sale. Sometimes they may manage the relationship. Other times, there are relationship managers who would take on the relationship once the sale is closed. So these are the 5 non-coding roles within the tech industry that I think that anyone can get into if you have transferable skills from your existing industry. You can bring it onto the tech industry and you don't need to learn how to code. If you have enjoyed this content, please make sure to like and subscribe and share, and I will see you next time. Bye.